won't know anything. So, Lorraine, what was it like when you got the assessment letter?
I was really nervous, if I'm going to be honest. I think for me, because my impairments are really hidden, I kind of thought, wow, I'm going to walk through the door, they're going to look at me and think, oh, there's nothing wrong with her. So yeah, when I got my letter, I made sure that I looked at the date, looked at where the assessment was going to be. It was about an hour and 50 minutes drive, which was quite a long way away. So I was able to ring up and just see if they had an assessment centre that was closer. And they did. Yeah, they did. Good. They kind of moved it to somewhere that was a bit closer because with my part of my impairments to do with my back, so sitting for a long period of time is really, really difficult for me. So they did that and they were really, really quite supportive. I also made sure that I looked at the parking to see what facilities there were around the area.
Because I made initial phone calls either with the Department of Work and Pensions or with the assessment provider, it kind of put my mind at ease in a way that meant that I could focus on what I was actually going to say and how I was going to dress.
Yeah, I think the more prepared you are, the easier it is to relax. And so therefore, if you read the guidance, if you come prepared and you bring your application form, which is what I did, and my supporting evidence, so I made sure that, a week before I'd read through everything, I brought everything that was necessary, and so that took off a lot of the pressure.
I took along the form, I printed out a copy and I took along the form that I had written all of my evidence on, and I, at points during my assessment, was reading it almost word for word because I wanted to make sure that I was covering every single base. So I think that the biggest piece of advice that I got was don't assume that the assessor knows anything about you, and be as honest and open as you can about how your disability really impacts on your health and your well-being and various other things, and really talk about the little things that we don't consider because we always seem to manage with our impairments.
Which is true. I think for me, I know my body better than anybody else, so I know how my impairments affect me. I think what is key to this, though, is really explaining in details. For myself, I tend to be quite a private person, so I don't often share because most of the time you kind of get on with it, so I don't really share how these things affects me. But at the assessment, it's really important to be very open, very honest, and go into as much detail as possible as to what it's like to be in a day in the life of Lorraine.
If you make it seem as if you are able to manage doing something, but normally you're not able to do it, then they will assume that you can always do that thing. Right. You don't want to put on any kind of brave face around how you deal with your impairment.
It's easy to do that though sometimes, isn't it?
It's so much easier to manage.
That's right.
And actually it needs to be an as honest conversation as you can muster.
It's like doing the complete opposite, isn't it? Yeah. We're taught how to manage the impairment, but at the assessment you have to show them how you don't manage. Yeah, so it's really quite weird. What's really good as well is that you can take someone with you to your assessment. So for me, I took my daughter with me for two reasons. One, because at the time I needed the support to help me to walk into the assessment centre, but also two, so that I could have someone else listening in and filling in the gaps that maybe I'd not heard or not listened to, or really for the assessor to get a sense of what it's like, as my daughter is the person that supports me the most, what it's like in my world.
If you can't get support from a family member or a friend, maybe consider contacting like an advocacy service or someone that can just be there to support you.